Hey, this is guitarist Eric Skye coming at you today with another of my 30-day guitar challenges. Today we're going to talk about singing, and I'm actually going to sing, so hold on to your pants because I'm no singer. But the idea here is to use the part of our brain that can walk down the street and just kind of whistle or hum melodies that seemingly no one's ever heard before, and they're fairly well formed. I think that there's just something in us that can do that, or a lot of us that can do that. And what I like to do is try to marry that with with my hand, which sometimes just wants to regurgitate the little patterns that I've taught it. So what I want to try to do is get some of that inflection of the voice in there. So I want to use something called scat singing, probably made famous in the guitar world by George Benson. But again, I don't sing, so the point isn't really about singing, that's for sure. And it's hard to differentiate what comes first, the singing or the playing, or the playing and the singing, what's guiding what. Just try to sync them together. So usually what I have students do is find a scale, a major scale, and it could be in any key, in any position, whatever you want. I'm going to take G major, because it's the people's key, here at the 3rd fret. And I'm going to start in the middle of it because now I have room to go down and up. And I'm going to try to find like a children's melody or something that I just know, like I know my name. And I'm going to take Twinkle Twinkle. It's kind of one of my favorites. And just try to find it. So, if you're an absolute beginner, this is going to be a challenge, and you might want to use your voice right off the bat. You sort of find that first note and try to sing it, da, and then go da, 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 and then the next note is da, so just sort of use your voice to hunt and peck and find it. And then once you got it, da, 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 then try to practice the whole scale. Again, don't get hung up on the singing. It ain't going to be pretty when I do it, that's for sure. I can't sing this high, but I'm going to. So, da, 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 da. Anyway, so what I'm going to try to do is try to play sort of Whisper Down the Lane. Try to do like a little bit of a metamorphosis. So, at first, what I'm going to do is just play the melody straight, just the first few bars, and then maybe I'll try to swing it a little bit, and then maybe where I'm supposed to go down, I'll go up in one place, skip a note, but just slowly deviate from the melody, and maybe several, times down the road here, it'll be pretty abstract, and maybe if you came in the middle, you'd be like, that doesn't sound like Twinkle Twinkle. But in a way, it is. It's a little journey, and we got there. And then try to see if you can find your way back. This is just a good exercise to sort of, again, get the phrasing and the inflection of your voice into your hand, but also for developing themes and variating them, and then thinking long form. Being up, not just sort of playing cut and paste licks that will work, but actually taking a melody and riding it out. So I'm going to attempt to do this. I can't believe it, but I'm going to do it, and we'll just see how it goes. So a little Twinkle Twinkle improvisation in G. right, well, there's some quality entertainment for you. Anyway, the idea is, well, your challenge is to try to do that. Take something else. Take a holiday song, take Happy Birthday, whatever, but take some little theme and try to kind of ride it out and let your voice kind of guide you. And I promise that'll really kind of, it'll come in handy. And a lot of times when I'm improvising, that's kind of the method that I'm using. So if you take that same thing and maybe apply it to, like summertime and it's easy, right? And just take like a theme, a longer form theme, but try to do that same thing. It can kind of go a long way to more of a, I guess, thematic improvisation and less sort of cut and pasty kind of thing. And it's good for the audience too, because there's a story to kind of follow there. So hopefully that makes sense. I want to add one last thing too. I think that this can be really helpful for composing. I'm no real composer, I guess, but the tunes that I have made up, everyone's process is different, but my process is usually I like chords. I'm kind of a chord nerd. So I'll come up with like a chord progression. Maybe I'll come up with one now. Let's see. Put myself on the spot. So maybe if I come up with it, I'll take like something folky, so like something really simple, like maybe C to F, right? So I'll get an idea for a chord progression. Okay, and so it's really helpful to know that you're in the key of C. So a little bit of theory goes a long way if you can sort of know that those two chords are in the key of C, and then be able to identify a C scale in that neighborhood. Just as a starting point, you can play any scale you want. You can play G demolished. It doesn't have to be pretty inside stuff, but just for the point of this exercise, here's my C scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You can just use your voice and your experience with the sound of music just to find the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so I got my little chord progression. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just sort of scat. Just some of the notes, just kind of get in the range, right? Again, this isn't going to be pretty. But the idea is to come up with a melody. Usually I'll use my voice. So I might just sort of sit and play it and just sing over top of it. And then if something's cool, then I'll think, oh, great, how can I use one of my remaining fingers to play that? A lot of times I'm doing that same thing as I was demonstrating with Twinkle Twinkle. So I'll just be I'll sing a note. I'll see where it goes. I like that. There's something. That didn't work that great, but anyway, more quality entertainment for you. But that process, if you got cooler chords, other progressions, whatever, but that process sort of coming up with a chord change and just singing around it and then trying to find that on the guitar is a way to kind of pull melody out of yourself that if you were just sort of in guitar brain and just sort of going through chords and trying scales, it's not as likely, I think, for me anyway, it's not as likely that stuff would come out. So, okay, well, I'm done blushing, and hopefully that was somewhat entertaining and informative for you. All right, over and out.